Maegavanen. Good evening in Sindarin. I am the Talking Shed, and in this first installment of Why Did the Rings of Power Fail, we'll look at the most apparent issue of the show, its protagonist. How did mighty and kind Lady of the Noldor, the ruler of Lothlorien, the bearer of one of the three rings, Galadriel, become a spoiled brat? In Twimordene, in Lorien, certain have walked the feet of men. Few mortal eyes have seen the light that lies there ever, long and bright. Galadriel, Galadriel, clear is the water of your well, white is the starry on white hand, unmarred, unstained is leaf and land, in Twimordene, in Lorien, more fair than thoughts of mortal men. This poem, that Gandalf tells Grima in Meduseld in the halls of Theoden in the Two Towers, describe Lorien and its ruler, Galadriel. She is immortal, wise, resistant, and pure. From the books we also learn that she is kind and gentle, but also ambitious and proudful. And unfortunately, pride is the only thing that connects two characters, the one that we know from the books and the one that we see in the show. There would be nothing wrong with depicting Galadriel as proudful. Pride is a common flaw. Overcoming it is a common trope in storytelling. But it is not the case in the show. The show does not present her arrogance as her flaw. In The Lord of the Rings, to overcome her pride, to get rid of her ambition to refuse to take the One Ring, was the challenge that Galadriel had to face. Here, in the show, Galadriel's moments of pride, when she deals with everybody, with Halbrand, with Queen Miriel, with Elendil, her moments of disdain, of atrocious behavior, being just rude and arrogant, are supposed to be celebrated. We are supposed to feel as if those are great wins, as she's to be respected for what she does and how she deals with others. And when there is no place for compassion that assisted pride in the original character, when there is no place for kindness and wisdom, for calmness, can we even say that it is the same character? And we only discussed the character traits. Let's look at who Galadriel is in the show. She's a commander, so she rides ahead of everyone and defeats enemies, and all others are supposed to admire her. She's a great warrior because anyone else has just seen a sword for the first time in their life. And she's not a ruler, so we cannot learn anything new about how she started as this leader in Lothlorien. And maybe even more importantly, she's not a wife anymore, she's a widow, and she is not a mother. We do not see Celeborn, her husband, or Celebrian, her daughter. They have been completely erased from her story. And that contradicts the lore, but it's not the only occurrence of that. So it's clearly visible that it is not Galadriel that we know. It was a mistake to begin with, to place her as the protagonist of the show. I firmly believe that, for example, Elrond would be a better protagonist. He was, in the books, the leader of elven armies, Gil-galad's herald, and his story would be just better placed in what Tolkien imagined. But we got Galadriel as a protagonist, and, well, the only thing that we can recognize is her pride and name. Now, that's not enough to construct a good adaptation of a character. Well, we should look at it closer. The first question we should ask when we adapt a character is why? And the obvious answer, the only answer that is acceptable in storytelling, is to make the story better. So the question that follows is, does Galadriel improve the story of the Rings of Power? The question has a simple answer. She does not. But let's look at some more particular issues. Let's ask ourselves some questions that anyone creating or adapting a character should ask. First of all, what is Galadriel like? Well, we touched upon it. She's arrogant and proudful. She's vicious, even cruel. And despite being thousands of years old, she seems like a spoiled child. Like somebody that gets everything she wants. And, well, she demands more and more. And she gets it. She never learns. She never takes no for an answer. She seems like a teenager who does not respect anyone, but demands respect from everybody else. So, how are we supposed to like her? When you arrive at somebody like this, when you create a story, you have to change something, you have to add something to make her relatable. But here we got nothing. I cannot name anything that I like about this character, and the moment has come when I hate her. I hate her name, to hear her name, to see her on the screen, because there is nothing to like. And it's horrible for somebody that loves the original character of Galadriel, this mighty, powerful ruler, this kind woman that advises Frodo on his journey, that impacts the whole story. Here is changing into somebody that, well, frankly, I wished to have drowned in the sea. Speaking of that, what does Galadriel do in the show? Well, she ends up in the ocean because she refuses to go to Valinor. She then demands an army. She disrespects everyone in Numenor, but nobody seems to mind. She threatens to kill the entire race of orcs, and to do that without blink of an eye, just because it is her way to revenge. She then, after being confronted with Sauron, does not tell anyone who he is. And even worse, she pursues his plans. She makes rings of power. That was Sauron's desire. So we get nothing to, to make for horrible traits that she presents. Now let's ask about her motivation and her goal. It is revenge. When you create a character, you cannot make it one-dimensional, to just present one thing that they do. If you have a protagonist, you have to make them complex, to make them relatable like real people are. We are complex creatures. We have different goals and different motivations that fight in us. And here we see only revenge. It is the only thing that Galadriel strives for. And she does not stop. But we, on the other hand, never start to root for her because, well, revenge. Yeah, if we knew this character that you are supposed to take revenge for, maybe we could feel something. That would be the basis, but we spent with Finrod 1 minute, so nothing there. So yeah, that's her motivation, the only thing we get. And now, what are Galadriel's morals? It's even worse, it's horrifying. She's able to torture and kill prisoners of war. That's not good for your characters. If you want to present your protagonist, you probably should make them a little bit better than your villain. But here, well, I cannot differentiate between the morals of the villain, Sauron, who seems to be on a path of redemption even, but Galadriel stops him and forces him to, well, go to Southlands, and there after he reveals himself to be the Dark Lord. And Sauron does not threaten to kill the race of elves, but Galadriel does threaten to kill the race of orcs. You may make your own conclusions. And now, maybe two most important questions. How does Galadriel find her demons? How does she overcome her flaws? She does not. And the other question, how does she develop as a character? And the answer again is she does not. And, well, that's a failure in itself, that your character does not change. We have only this one bit in the 7th episode where she seems to somewhat regret coming to the Southlands or taking part in the battle, but that's it. That's short, few words that cannot make for the entire story arc that should be there, of change, of overcoming the pride and fighting arrogance, of becoming more humble and becoming more likable. No, she does not change, and she does not become relatable for the whole show. What's there to like? What's there to praise in this character? So, to sum up, the fact that Galadriel is the protagonist of the show, the main character, is tragic. It is a failure. And to point it out would be enough to say that the show fails in some basis. When you create a story, you have to make your protagonist likable, relatable. They do not have to be a good person morally. You can relate to somebody that is, well, at least questionable in their morals. But there should be something to liken them. And when you do not provide anything like that, then you have failed. This is basic storytelling, creating character to be liked. But as we will see in this series, in the following episodes, basic rules of storytelling are often avoided and disrespected. So, yes, that was Galadriel. That was the protagonist. We could talk about her longer and longer, but frankly, I do not want to spend any time more thinking about this horrendous character that is supposed to replace the real Galadriel that we know from the books and Peter Jackson's films. So, we'll end it here. I have to, from the bottom of my heart, thank everybody that's commented on the last video, every new viewer, every new subscriber, and well, I hope to see you again very soon. Fare you well. Nova Year.
Subscribe right now, you little hobbitses.